So, NordVPN, okay, Spud?
Oh no, I know where this is going. Oh God. Aren't they such fuckers? Like, they're the Ryanair of VPNs. They're just plaster advertising everywhere, and people sign up to go, no, it looks alright. No, it's awful.
Well, it's grand for certain things, but it's Ryanair, like. But so it got me sent an email that going, oh, we've upgraded our entire infrastructure. This is now the best VPN that ever existed ever. So I can't connect to the internet anymore. So I came down this morning and I was like, no, I was going, right, I'll check my phone. My Wi-Fi's fine, so my actual internet's fine. Windows is going, we've no idea what's going on. It literally said something along, we've no idea what's going on. So I had to uninstall NordVPN.
Yeah, oh God.
And then I opened up Skype, and Skype went, we've no idea where your video camera is. We've no idea where your microphone is. And then when I did get all that working, and you rang, you couldn't hear me, because I had mute on.
Yeah, Monday's telling you to go back to bed.
Oh, man. Yeah. Remember being able to go back to bed? That was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, just waking up and going, not today. Nah, it's okay. Yeah.
My wee man woke up this morning and he was like, Blippy. I was going, right, that's me up.
Yeah. I was trying to watch one of the last films there this morning, and they were playing under, like, the size of a fucking house. And they have to play under my feet at the kitchen table. It's like, go to the living room. No, you know what I mean? Like, no, go, Tata's working. Just go, will you? Yeah, what are you watching? No, I'm not. Okay, I'm not working. Just go. Leave me alone.
Just leave me alone.
Oh, God. You know, it's horrible saying that to your kids, leave me alone. It's like, Jesus, don't say that. You know?
I know, yeah. I even sometimes, like, when I come down and the cat is be screaming at me, and it's like, I'm going, will you leave me alone? I even feel bad about the cat. Yeah. Oh, the poor wee cat, all he wants is to say hello to me. No, he doesn't. He wants food. He doesn't want me at all.
Mira, I have a couple of ghost stories for you.
Oh, cool.
So, you remember we were talking about, was it last week or the week before, the Valpurgis, yeah?
Valpurgis Nacht.
Yeah. So, apparently, I didn't know this, there's an International Paranormal Day. Did you know that?
I did not know this.
Right, so International Paranormal Day, I've closed that tab. It's a couple of days after that anyway. I think it's like the 5th.
Oh, we've missed it already, have we?
Yeah, I think it's the 5th or something, and Valpurgis is the 2nd, or it's the 4th. So, a couple of days after anyway.
Bieltana was the 5th this year, wasn't it?
So maybe it's on the same. I don't know. Anyway, it's International Paranormal Day, right?
Okay.
And Aga had a ghost thing, and my dad. So Aga wakes up at night to go into the shacks, and she can hear this thump going. You know? Did you pick that up?
Oh yeah, it sounds great. It sounds like a shamanic drum. I was going into a trance immediately.
You're like your man Juan in one of the films. What a cool guy. But anyway, she hears this thumping, and she's like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like, she thought it was someone downstairs. Thought it was me ma clattering around downstairs or something. And so she looks into the boy's room, and he has one of these Hot Wheels toys. That's like 4 tracks that meet in the center and form a crossroads, and it's to make the cars crash, you know?
Yeah.
So it has this really loud motor, but it's battery powered, and it was turned on, and the boy was asleep.
Oh.
Yeah, right? And she's freaking out. And now she didn't know it was International Paranormal Day until the day after. She looked it up for some reason, right? God knows why. But she was freaked out.
It was a full moon too, wasn't it, around then?
Yeah, and she's been kind of a little bit freaked out since then, waking up at night and going to the toilet or whatever. But my dad over in Ireland, he had something similar. We have one of those. I don't know if really international listeners have these things. English listeners know what they'll be, and Irish. It's a what do you call it? A stairs going up to your attic.
A styra.
Styra, yeah. So basically, you have a stick, right, and on the end of the stick is like a kind of key, and you stick it up into your ceiling. You turn it, and then the stairs will fold down, you know.
Yeah.
And you have to catch it, obviously. But
it's actual steps rather than like a step ladder. It's a very kind of distinct looking thing.
Yeah. And now you have to turn when you close it. You have to turn it to make it to kind of lock it, you know, so that it doesn't fucking fall, you know.
Yeah, immediately.
Yeah. So about 3:00 in the morning on the same night, he hears this unmerciful loud. He's like, "What the fuck is going on? He's like, oh, he's in the house all on his own. He's like, oh, God, here we go. Getting robbed. So he gets up and he goes down, and the stairs have fallen down. Like,
Right.
which is impossible to happen
Right.
because...
Well,
like,
it's particularly if he fixed it immediately and it was fine.
well, see,
but
the
it
thing is,
wasn't
like, you can't put them up
without turning
because if you don't turn the thing, it'll fall back down immediately.
Yeah.
So it's like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
And did he go
cool,
up into the attic? Did he do that whole horror film thing with the flashlight?
No. I'd say he just put the thing back up and went straight back to bed as quickly as possible.
Saying something like, fuck this.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
Well, that's awesome, yeah.
So I have a penciled in, or I have that penciled in into the calendar. So, and I set a reminder for next year.
Oh, yeah, but you see, the thing is, Spud, your little love affair with the paranormal and woo-woo is gone now that the football's back. I mean, I'm going to see less and less here. It'll be like, do you want to do a podcast this week? Nah.
Watching football.
Some sort of man running around a football pitch.
Well, it's back. Yeah, the football I like is back on Friday. The Bundesliga, German football is back. I didn't watch any of the Asian football over the weekend because...
You back at work then, are you?
I don't know. I need to email them today and ask them what's the story with work. But yeah, I'd like to be back writing again. But to be honest, if I have another week off, that's okay too. I have plenty to keep me busy. Yeah. You know?
What's the advantage in the situation?
What's the advantage, Tommy? Yeah. Do you know? Here, so what's the story with this whole guardian angel thing? How much do you know about this?
How much do I know about it? More than I probably should, less than other people. How's
and
that?
have you done it all?
No, of course not. Jeez, it's a year and a half of your life if you're doing it properly. It depends. Matter's translated, as far as I know, as 6 months, but the original translation is a year and a half of being on your own, bowing and prostrating yourself every day.
All right, but I watched Alan Chapman. He has a video, not on YouTube.
Yes,
on
Alan
Vimeo.
Chapman has a very different approach to it. He's a let's hurry up and has a chaos magic approach to it. Ramsey Jukes has his Abramelin. It's Abramelin or Abramelin, depending on who you talk to. I say Abramelin because
Abraham, isn't it?
Yeah, Abraham, but it's like Abra because abracadabra. So I think that's the.
Come on, it's not
I know.
It's not Paul Daniels. You know what I mean? Like...
Well, no, abracadabra is. That's an old word that's stolen by Paul Daniels and the like. Not that magic is stolen. Crowley changed it so that the Gematria would suit him better to abrahadabra, which is less fun to say. Yeah. But abracadabra itself, like there's a whole kind of spell that you can do where it's abracadabra. You start with abracadabra, and you know it's that they ever see those spells where the word proceeds. Put that in your walls. Great protection.
I'm laughing at it. Well, so the magician had to stutter, the poor fella.
This time next week, Spud's getting up every morning screaming abracadabra to the four directions, including the great spirit in the sky. Good. Oh, this really works for me. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, so so Ramsey Dukes has his diary of him doing it, but he's not. As far as I know, I don't think he actually attained the knowledge and conversation of the Holy Guardian Angel during that period, but he did a full magical retirement.
And so what's the story like? Do people like give away their angels' names and stuff like that, or is it just something you keep to yourself?
Depends. Crowley did because it was a kind of a bigger thing where it's Iwas is his, and he wrote the Book of the Law, which is kind of the big thing that Crowley's known for. Well, he spoke it into Crowley's ear in Egypt in 1904. But most people don't, and I think it's kind of the same as most of the magic thing is you're kind of, keep stum about all. Just don't say anything, See, it's as likely that it's rather than it being a taboo or profane or something, it's more like if I said to you, my angel's name is Stephen, and you laughed, which you should, there's kind of a diminishment of, that energy or whatever, and it kind of, if you kind of keep these things to yourself in a sense, it builds the power more than the release of saying it out loud. In the same way as talking about your book or your novel or your story, if you told me the whole thing before it's fully cooked, it's harder to get the momentum back to actually do it because it has landed in some way. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like saying, I'm going to the gym tomorrow. Just go to the gym tomorrow. You know what I mean? And it's easier than, but I mean, I know then there's also that kind of thing where they can say that, well then people, you've set yourself up that, you'll get slagged if you don't go, so there's actual extra onus on you. I think Richard Wiseman did a study where he's saying that something about along the lines of telling other people that you're going to do it rather than giving you more culpability into doing it. That's not the word. Whatever. What's that thing when people force you to do something, or you have
peer pressure?
Peer pressure. Well, not peer pressure. There's another word. It'll come to me anyway. But you're less likely to actually finish your task if you tell other people about it as well. So there's that. That kind of went off a bit.
And okay. So I'm not going to tell you my story with the Holy Guardian Angel. But,
I know you definitely are.
Because it'll dissipate. All right.
No. But you see, here's the thing. It obviously didn't for Crowley, and it obviously didn't for any number. Like, I know Alan Chapman's what his is as well. Like, he talks about it, and it's funny. There's hesitancy for me to say it out loud, just because I've kind of gone, well, is that a public thing? I think it is though. So tell me your HGA one.
Yeah, because I was looking up today. Like, what are you supposed to do now? Did you have one?
Well, you see, the whole point of great work and all this knowledge and conversation of the Holy Guardian Angels, so they become a presence in your life that you can get influenced by, get, like mentored by, in a sense, or kind of bounce ideas off, or in some way have more of a guiding hand. So what would you do if someone came into your life who was better at wood cutting than you are and hung around you when you were doing wood cutting? You'd ask for advice. You would
give us a hand here, would you? Pass me the hammer.
Yeah. What you getting paid? What should I be charging?
What's your holiday? Yeah. What did he say about double pay this Monday? What's going on here? It's bank holiday.
Are you in the union?
Oh God, no! Because I was telling you last week that I'd found this way. What I thought I was doing was meditating, but it's not meditating. It's what people in your, even mine, circle would call journeying. I didn't even know journeying was a thing, you know?
Or Jung would call it active imagination. Yeah.
Active imagination. So I thought that this is this fucking amazing thing. Where
New Age people would call it visualization. So.
Is it though? Because for me, visualization is just imagining you're going to do something, but without but without any kind of woo or looking for insight. It's just that it's like I remember not the first time, but I remember reading about fucking Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney admits he's terrible at tactics in football.
Yeah,
terrible at them, but his sports psychologist at Man United says, okay, look, you don't need to worry about the tactics. What you just need to do is imagine yourself doing the thing you've been told to do. And he's like, oh, okay. And that's just visualization. Yeah,
that's magic. I mean, you remember Tony Quinn was hanging around with the boxer and all that. Remember all that back in the day?
Yeah.
That was all. Who was it? He was.
Steve Collins, was it?
Steve Collins, it was. But like that was all part of the visualization, the whole thing, and all. I mean, that's magic. I mean, it's like the thing about magic is like some of it has become so mainstream that we just we no longer kind of consider. But so what I mean is in the visualization thing is it's kind of like. What is magic? How is magic different from any other act? How's opening a door a magical act? And Crowley's thing is it's a deliberate, intended act, which makes it if you're just kind of sitting there daydreaming, la 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 la, rather than sitting there going, I'm going to score loads of goals. This is how I'm going to score goals. This is going to thing. It's a deliberate, intended visualization. I suppose is the difference.
Okay, that's weird, huh?
Although I suppose the reality transurfing kind of end of it would be that you would kind of nearly have to keep an eye on your visualizations that that are going on, because they're the things that are actually controlling you. They're your loops, your programs. So if you're sitting there always constantly visualizing, I don't know, your dad shouting at you when you're a kid, or your best mate telling you you're a wanker, or whatever it is. These kind of loops, these visual things, you could go, well, hold on, which is what meditation, of course, is. Is the useful.
Plus, there's also the thing of that he says in it that you can give in to fantasy and imagine that you're winning $1 million or whatever, and just enjoy it and fully immerse yourself into the fantasy. But then say, okay, well, if I don't win the $1 million, it's okay. My life's still all right, kind of thing. Drop importance.
Drop importance. That's it.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. So
tell me your story.
No, I was doing this thing. I watched this video on a fellow who was doing an astral projection, and I thought, okay, that looks like shits and giggles. I'll give that a go. But how to explain what I did then? He was saying to get into like a comfortable kind of trance-like state, and then you do this, and then this will happen, and you need to do it 1,000,000 times to lucid dream and all this kind of stuff, right? And I thought, no, there's an easier way of doing this, and it's that when I wake up in the mornings, I'm usually woken up by the alarm, and then I have a snooze, and the next alarm, or else the kids will come in and wake me up. So between that first waking up and the second one, that's kind of when I'll dream or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's this very, very short 5 minutes where you're just like, you awake, and you go, you're gone again, you know?
Yeah.
So if you plant an idea in your head, then just before you go back to sleep, that's when your subconscious will say, oi, yeah, I can help.
Right.
So I had this thing, and I told you before, where I had this idea dump, just like what you had for your comic. I had one very similar, it's less than 2 weeks ago. And then when I realized, shit, I can do this, then I said, okay, what else can I ask myself or find out, you know? And I was just...
It's like, what
can
I do?
I got the fucking keys to the kingdom, baby. You know what the fuck is going on? And instead of asking for the lottery numbers, I'm just like, no, but like, because I had the thing with Alan Chapman's book and Reality Transurf, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to have to go with this and say, right, if you're there, say hello, you know?
Yeah.
She did.
Oh, cool,
and then,
cool.
And then I asked it, right, show me a sign that's definitely real, like. And I heard this kind of... No, it was this kind of like a gaga or a goo-goo of a baby or something.
Oh, right.
That's it. So I had her name, right?
Yeah.
Should I tell your name? Yeah, we'll tell.
If you want to.
Minerva, right?
Okay, cool.
Right?
Have you Googled that? That's the
Yeah, definitely. I Googled it. As soon as I woke up properly, I Googled it, and she's like the first thing that comes up is this Roman
My Google
goddess.
opened up.
Yeah.
Every time you mention Google, my phone goes, hello? You're looking for me?
There she is. And so the first thing that comes up is a Roman deity, Roman goddess, and she was the Roman equivalent of Athena. And she was the
war god.
The god of the Romans had her as because Mars is the god of war. She's the god of defensive war. So,
right.
So she's a
not to have to pay her equal pay in the war gods.
She's the clever boxer. You know what I mean? She's the fucking. She's not Holyfield. Who's the fella that fought McGregor? He's always backing up. It doesn't matter. Whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And
Frank.
Frank, yeah. She was the goddess of poetry. So
were you aware of that name before?
Many years ago.
Yeah.
I was going out with a French girl, and she had a friend called Minerva as well.
All right. Was she defensive?
That's when I was 18, 19, like, you know. So there's just no way. But it was mad. Like, it just got this name, this whisper, just like Chapman had said was going to happen. Like, it's just whisper. Yeah. And you're like, whoa. And then I went, okay, show me that's real. And then, and it's like, whoa. And I got the phone out. I'm like, whoa. Holy shit, like, you know, getting all these fucking mental synchronicities of, you know, what she was there was poetry, the defensive war, trade, crafts was another one. So like crafts and poetry, you're like, whoa, that's the writing, not poetry. But like, that's okay, that's me. There you are. Defensive war now I obviously have to get into.
Well, not necessarily.
No, I know. No, but that's the thing as well. It's kind of like you're kind of looking up then. I was looking up stuff like how, like, okay, like where did the fucking Roman gods and goddesses come from? Were they
Greece mostly?
No, Greece, yeah, but is there like a group of lads who sit around and say, well, I had a dream about your man, this fella, so do we get a vote on that? Will we make him a god?
Funny you say that, but pretty much. Like, there was that whole big thing of incubation that was in Greece. Yeah. Peter Kingsley talks an awful lot about where you'd find a holy place, or that was considered holy, or some sort of thing, or whatever. And the holy men, or whatever, you'd go to the holy men and you go, I have this issue, I have this problem, whatever it is, and they'd go and have a sleep. And then that would be their communication then with the gods or the other side or whatever it is. So I know you're kind of joking, go to sleep, but probably that's...
No, I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of joking, but then like maybe this Minerva character person is someone who's just been around for eons and is like just pops in and out.
Definitely, of course, yeah. And also like it could be like, I mean, as an idea or whatever, like because like you could kind of, I suppose, be a bit skeptical of why would a god come to me or whatever. But I mean, the god comes in a kind of in the face that you need as well, and you kind of a different facet and all that. So why I'm saying that is that because you're saying it's defensive military, and then you go, well, that doesn't really apply to me. No, it might apply to you in 20 years. You don't know what your long track is. But also with the whole HGA thing, or your own guide or whatever, you'll develop your own particular kind of thing. So while it's kind of, when you get a name like something that is representation, a part of something, an older type thing, still try to have your own personal kind of, let them tell you what it is rather than Google or whatever. Yeah. But that's kind of harder to do, I suppose. Like if you had a name that was Jag Juju and you put it into Google and nothing, you would have a much easier kind of.
Yeah. But it's funny that name, because it's a name I haven't heard in many, like, just a long time. And she was not a friend. She was just someone, in the background that someone knew, kind of thing. It's just very strange. But yeah, then you just Google and you're like, wow, this chick's kick ass, man.
You'll have to get a statue now. You'll have to get an altar. You'll have to get her sigil. Yeah. That's the other thing that you have to. Sigil, So that's you ask for the sigil, so that's then allows the communication. You visualize the sigil, or whatever it is.
She the Roman one, right? She carries around Medusa's head because isn't that kick ass? Medusa was really good looking, so Minerva sent someone to cut her head off.
Right. Yeah. The snake woman was good looking.
Yeah, Medusa was a rival. And I think Minerva turned her into an ugly bitch because she was getting all the fellas.
I thought your man cut the head off.
She sent him off.
What's his name? David?
David? Him. I don't remember.
Him, your man. Yeah. Oh, so we got it.
Yeah. Right. She's kick ass, man. Yeah.
Right.
But I don't know. It's a funny thing because, like, I was wrestling with this idea of it, and I was like, nah, it can't be. And then I just thought, okay, fuck it, let's just do it. And I tried it. Like, it wasn't the first night. I think it was 3 nights after the.
And this was the Alan Chapman one, the video of the Buddhist Geeks one. The video, is it, where you just surrender to it? That one, is it?
No, the sentence. I'm like, I consent to the
knowledge and
conversation.
The Holy Guardian.
That's it. Like, keeps just saying that before, after I wake up and going back for the second sleep.
Yeah.
Say that a couple of times until you fall back, because you'll always fall back asleep at that time in the morning. Well, I will anyway. You're gone. And next thing, just whisper. Whoosh. Wow.
Nice. Yeah, I've no idea.
So I'm falling asleep in the womb now, Tommy.
I know, but enjoy it. I mean, not to try. It's like there's definitely an energy that when you get into it that hangs around for a while. That kind of beginner's luck thing where you get loads of things happening. So rather than trying to kind of curse you or say, oh, it's all going to go away, just if it does kind of slow down a bit, that's normal too. But ride the wave while it's happening. I've no idea who my HG is. I've never had never got a name, never got it. I have a sense that it's female, as it's meant to be from the kind of classical thing that male will have a female one, and female will have male. Being that I'm sure genders are quite fluid when it comes to these things anyway. But so what are you gonna do? What's your plan?
I don't know. I was reading the chapter in Chapman's book again today about what to do kind of next, and it's just like, well, your magic is going to take off very quickly. They don't really do magic. I'll do sigils, but I prefer to kind of do sigils for other people, really, because I'm not after much. I have everything I want in the world. I'm very lucky, Okay, I want €1 million fucking euros, but like that's, you don't ask for shit like that, because
I want to be king of the moon. No,
no, because I can't be king of the moon because I have Mickey convinced that dragons live on the moon and the moon's made of cheese, and there are good dragons and bad dragons,
right?
And that there's no people don't go to the moon anymore because the good and the bad dragons are fighting each other all the time. So, but it's made of cheese, and the dragons are addicted to cheese.
I mean, that's as good as any conspiracy I've heard recently, to be quite fair. Believable in many ways, not so much in other ways.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I want to read up more about.
You're reading Blood of the Saints anyway, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm reading that. I want to read up more because, like, I don't want it to be like, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? I just went, okay, like, how do I learn more, or how do I How do I? That's kind of the way I would do it. It's like what you say. If it was like a big brother or something like that, and you just someone you'd ask for advice every now and again, or a little bit of insight or something,
But never take even whoever your guide's thing as the word of God. Take it only as an opinion, as thing. Like if there's a case, because you hear people saying like, oh, and like the fixer bullshit stuff, like, oh, my HGA told me that I had to cut off my hand, and go, yeah, probably don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, probably not. Unless you're Bill Drummond and it's, the MTV Awards or whatever it is, you maybe consider it then.
Well,
but
I had another dream this morning, and she said telema magico, and telema is obviously Crowley's religion or whatever. I think it was magico, but like, why the fuck
would
she
it be
speaking Italian to
magia?
me?
Magia, Maigia. That won't make much. That's what Alan Chapman's doing now, is magia, but it was.
Fuck off!
And he was a Telemite.
Really?
So, yeah. Well,
I was googling like mad this morning, trying to figure out what the fuck she was telling me, and I had stumbled on this book, and I was like, I think this is the book. Yeah, maybe I get this one. And I was like, I was debating with myself, like, will I even tell Tommy any of this stuff? And there you are, Tommy. Yeah. Fucking oracle of wisdom. So this is what he's on as well, and she's telling me to get, this is mental. Yeah. The fuck has happened in my life?
Well, you agreed to do a podcast with me, and I've just opened wide the gates of hell, let forth.
So, well, I mean, that's better, because I didn't really want to read Aleister Crowley's books, because I think he's batshit.
No, he has his moments.
No, he has his moments, but
Uncle Al.
But I think I think he's too fond of the dark side for me. You get me?
That's. I would suggest that's reading more about him than reading him about what he says about himself.
Maybe so, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe so. Plus, he has too many books
to read. To say
he's got like 10 or 15 books. I mean, I'm not going to read all them. Jesus Christ.
Well, he's a load of fiction books. He's a load of poetry. Avoid the poetry at all costs. It's not good poetry. Some people like it. But he has core books, and an awful lot of the Libors that you see, like there's 30 books. They're like, some of them are 4 pages, some of them are 10 pages. It's not, it's not... that one, if you're ever going to buy a Crowley one, get the Magic. The point behind me, you won't be able to see. It's the big blue one, and it has pretty much everything that you would ever want.
I think I'll just follow more of the Alan Chapman stuff. That's what he's working on now. Then I'll just keep an eye on it.
Oh, well, he did. His new stuff is he's gone in, but he'll talk an awful lot about Aleister Crowley in The Blood of Saints and the Urn and Desert of Roses.
Yeah.
So you'll get a good kind of grasp on whether you.
I started on the second one, and then I went, no, I got to read the first one first.
Yeah.
And they're really good. I like the kind of interaction between the two of them better than I like Chapman's book. But then again, I think I like Chapman's book more now that I've settled on it.
Yeah. And it's a different style. It's more conversational in in the thing. Sure. Even though it's like, I suppose, one side it's a fancier vocabulary in the Blood of Saints than it is Advanced Magic, but the tone's very different or something.
Yeah. It's just the kind of two mates saying, right, let's try this, let's do that, let's see what happens, and then we're basing this on this, and we'll try it. And I like it.
Yeah, they used to have loads of YouTube videos of them going around doing mad stuff where they'd have like workman's jackets, the limbs jackets with wizards at work on the back and all this kind of stuff. But they took them all down. But that's some great, really fun stuff. Like.
Yeah.
So yeah, UFOs.
That was my week. Yeah. Weird. Yeah, UFOs. Yeah, cool. Yeah, let's do it.
So I watched a number of UFO documentaries over this week. I watched 5, I think. So I watched the two Australian Skies ones, which I don't think you did.
No.
And I'd have to be honest, I would struggle to really explain the 3 hours that those 2 documentaries are, other than it's some couple of guys in Australia seeing some things, and
that's about it. Like,
like one of them gets hypnotized and he finds out it's his holy guardian angel from the future coming back to protect them. But there's like real long chunks of the full hypnotist sessions in it, like it's about 40 minutes and that. And it's like, it's grand, but I just struggled to keep attention on it. But they're very highly rated, that one. So, but like they're probably
rated, yeah. I'm glad you told me not to watch them though, because.
It's not that. It's just like kind of going, all right, okay. Like they were doing interesting things where they're going, well, let's get a drone up in the air and see if it looks like the UFO. And I went, oh, it doesn't. Right, like like they were in a sense testing it, but it just kind of, I don't know. I didn't enjoy it in the way that when you get into the other one, it's the witness to the world or of the world, or what is it called?
Witness of another world.
Of another world, and like within about 5 minutes, you go, right, well, I'm in here. This is I'm engaged straight away. Yeah. And so that one is basically about a guy in Argentina. Am I right?
Argentina, sí, señor.
who, when he was 12, had some sort of contact experience or some sort of experience, where he was out in his field and seen tree lights, and then was brought on board a ship where there was some little kid cutting up meat, and then there was, which was odd, but there was no blood.
Yeah, no
And then
blood.
an older guy who then suddenly started going, get out the fuck.
Well, maybe it was tofu.
Yeah, or maybe it was, yeah. And then the horse he was went insane and bumped into the UFO, subsequently died.
Yeah.
And but then he was kind of trotted out on the kind of UFO scene, I suppose. You see a couple of bit of media footage of him just not being able to handle it at all, as, you know, how would you when you're a 12-year-old? And then it cuts to, obviously, I think, is he late 40s, 50s?
He's just over 40, I think.
But it looks weird because he looks like a 15-year-old boy who just has wrinkles. You know, he looks like a boy.
Yeah.
And he's just like kind of real gentle, kind of, you know, I didn't want this. You know, this has not ruined my life. It's just made my life harder. It's made, you know, and the director then goes and finds out his heritage, where his people come from. What's that look like?
Gorani people.
The Gorani people, and they have people who, you know, line up with the you know, like the kind of shaman that all of the things that's happened to him, where he's seen people in dreams, or he's able to kind of predict the future, where he knows stuff's happening. All of that is part of their culture. When the director plays the video of these things, you can see a sense of like a change, an unbelievable change comes over him, that it's just like, oh, I'm not insane. I'm not nuts. There is this kind of a thing. And it's just a lovely little scene of him just kind of, I don't know, breathing for the first time in years or something.
Yeah, and they bring him off to the village then, and they do this ceremony for him, where he's given his Gorani name.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. How could you not like it? He's such a lovely man, like, you know.
He's huge as well, isn't he? He's like
he's a giant, yeah.
Giant, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, what was kind of a bit hard to understand for me was why exactly why his life had become so hard. But it was just because ever since this abduction thing, well, not abduction, he walked onto the ship, like, that he's been plagued by these kind of clairvoyant dreams. And there's something really interesting that one of the shamans says as well about dreams. By the way, he has fucking magnificent hats.
Oh, he does.
Oh my God, he's the best hats, man. He's the awesome hats. Just watch, because I wrote it down. He has a magnificent hat, and then I changed it to hats. All of his hats are awesome. But where's the thing about dreams? Like, So I wrote here. He says that there's two types of dreams. There's these sneaky, deceitful dreams, and then there's dreams about the truth. And they both happen at the same time, but it's your body that chooses which way you interpret it. I thought that was really interesting, because then obviously Juan interprets them as bad because he sees this as a kind of traumatic event. But by going through this ritual with his ancestral people, they're like, no, it's not bad. Like, this is a gift. This is clairvoyancy. You can use this for, you know, for shits and giggles, or for money. I don't know, whatever. For good. You know, you can use it for good. So, like, I thought that was really cool. I've watched a couple of additional videos last night as well.
Oh, right. Tell me more then.
He meets, because around that time that Juan met the aliens, two other people in his kind of locality saw him as well. And he meets, you know, the skinnier guy? He's a carpenter.
The older guy, was it the guy in the bike?
No, the other guy, the guy that was driving.
Oh, right, yeah.
So he's interviewed in it, and they meet in his workshop, and they're just chatting.
Right, okay.
About the experience, and a little bit more is revealed. And they don't know each other, even though they're from close to each other. So they're just chatting. And then there's another one from, it's like a paranormal podcast. What's it called? Fifth Element, Fifth something. It's really big on YouTube, like 500,000 subscribers or something. And
isn't it really weird when you go onto YouTube and you find something that's relevant to your interests, and there's like 20,000 subscribers, or 20 million subscribers, go, how do I not know about this?
Yeah.
Instead of getting like London Real videos, fucking, you might like this. No, I don't like that. You know, something else.
The host of this podcast, he interviews Juan through a translator, and which is quite nice as well. He reveals a little bit more about himself. I didn't watch all of it because I went to bed. But no, it's quite good. Look, you mentioned hypnosis there as well in the Australian one, and hypnosis was a like nearly a full episode of the second series in Hellier, wasn't it? Second series.
Yes, yeah, man. Where the pretended to get him abducted.
They implant this idea that he's been abducted. So like, and they this Dr. Nesto is his name. He's been a kind of psychologist who's been following Juan since he was 12. He's known Juan since he was 12, and he would visit him once a year, kind of thing, to make sure he's not gone doolally, you know?
Yeah.
Because everyone's worried about him, you know? But then he hypnotizes him in the house and brings him back on board the ship. And this is a bit I had a problem with, because is this implanting memories or is this him reliving memories? And I'm not convinced it's him reliving, to be honest, you know?
Yeah, the same with the Australian skies when there's like this kind of notion of that you can ask questions of the beings or whatever that you didn't ask at the time, and they can give you information. And I'm kind of going, is that how that works? Well, they're kind of saying, oh, well, this is how it works, you know, that it's out of time, you know, it's not subject to time, it's like kind of this bigger, and you're going, yeah, but I mean, you could literally go back to a time when you were 5 and, you know, your next door neighbour's beating the crap out of you, and you go, well, ask him why he's beating the crap out of you.
Yeah, why? Yeah. And it's, I don't know. I mean, okay, look, it gives Juan closure, and it does heal him a lot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not that's not necessarily what happened. You know what I mean? Because when he went onto the ship at first, he just kind of looked around, and there was this small alien cutting up what he thought was meat. There was a bigger alien doing stuff, and he touched his arm and healed him or whatever.
But he left looked like but vaccination marks like that, like needle marks type of things.
Strange,
which is quite odd because he was saying he was holding them.
And there was like a force field he said he couldn't walk through, but so this is what he explains to the filmmaker. But then after the hypnosis, he's like, no, he asks the alien some questions, that he has a conversation with him, and it's like I don't know, like, what? You know, I just find it a bit hard to believe that that's what really happened, rather than it's just Juan getting closure. And okay, he needs closure, so if it helps, it helps. I've nothing against that, but it's just that, like, then saying that, well, this is actually what happened because under hypnosis he can reveal what happened. I'm not really buying that.
Yeah, and there is a thing in the journeying sense or the active imagination sense of going back to traumatic incidences and doing the same type of stuff. But I think it's with the knowledge that you're doing that, rather than saying that the original thing is more, you know. Well, I mean, you can still have more revelation about it from going back, but it's not changing the nature of or the details, I suppose, of the original thing. Maybe it depends on what you think that was.
Yeah.
If, you know, like Jacques Vallée is also in this one, or this Witness one. Were you aware of that name?
I knew the name, but
yeah,
what I'd known most about him was from that American Cosmic book.
Yes,
I'd heard the name come up again and again, time and time.
His big one that he's known for is Passport to Magnolia, whatever way that's pronounced, which is the first kind of big collection of, well, is it the first big collection of UFO stories? Because I'm sure John Keel's previous to that. But he's, I suppose, proper legit science dude, you know, looking at it, you know, and he's definitely not a nuts and bolts man. He's more of a you know, alternative realities, dimensions type stuff. He's an interesting character. Again, I don't know a lot about him. More, I've heard people talk about him than I've you know, seen. There's a couple of lectures and stuff on YouTube that I tried to watch that have just horrible sounds that I just you know, I'm not watching this. But I'd say he is an interesting. There probably is documentaries about him in entirety. You know, like he's that kind of. But he's in that American.
I thought he was good because he had come across Juan first when he was like 14. Because there was 12 when it happened, and then Vallée and his wife went down there when he was 14 because they were collecting stuff for. I think at the time he was working for NASA, so they were collecting kind of paranormal stories or visitation stories, from around the world. So they went down to Juan, met him, and he tells the story that. He was really lucky that his wife was with him. Really happy that his wife was with him because the wife was a child psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And so she was able to get kind of more out of Juan. Because, I mean, he's a lovely chap, but he's backward as hell. Like, he's from a rural place like he said he was 12 years old and he didn't know how to get to the local town. Like he went to
yeah,
school on horseback. You know, like it's proper rural. Like we've no idea in Europe how rural that is. Like,
Yeah, sure, yeah. Like could possibly might have only seen 10 people in his life, kind of. You know, like,
It's like this is how rural like our grandparents were.
Yeah.
Stuff, you know.
Only that our grandparents were Catholics, so they had 10 in the one house. So it was, you know.
Yeah. But it's good though, and it's probably the best of the 3 documentaries.
Yeah, well, it is, but it's probably the least, in a sense, to do with aliens and UFOs. It's to do with him. It's his how life has treated him because of an experience, and it could equally have been, I suppose, anything that happened to him when he was 12. You know, it's not. It doesn't matter that it was aliens or UFOs or whatever it was, shiny beings cutting meat, but yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I liked him, and I wanted him to be happy. That was kind of,
yeah. And it's new. It's only new. It's only a couple of months old.
Oh, is it? Right. I knew it was fairly new, but I didn't know it was. Yeah. It's on Amazon Prime, but it's in all the usual haunts as well. What else did you watch? I know you watched the Stephen Greer one. Did you watch Mirage Men?
Yeah. Watched Mirage Men there this morning.
Richard Doty, what a man!
What a fucker! Mirage Men is the most journalisty of what we watched. These are recommended by people on Discord and Facebook, aren't they?
Yeah, the Mark Pilkington, though, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, he actually was on that thread on Facebook. The director of this one, Mirage Man.
It's his film.
Yeah, Ian Cat Vincent. Obviously, his friends with him and brought him into the thing, but he says he'll ask and answer any questions or anything we had about it. So maybe if you wanted to interview him at some point.
It's a funny one because it's all about. It kind of revolves around this CIA agent called Richard. Well, they pronounce it Doty. Doty, but it's Doty, D-O-T-Y, which is funny though because do you have that word up in loud? A dote. Don't be doting. Don't be codding. Don't be doting. You don't know any of them. They're Wexford words, are they?
Well, doting would be an old person whose memory's losing. She's doting a bit. That's
So we down in Wexford we'll say, don't be doting, don't be codding, don't be messing, don't be lying.
We wouldn't have that.
So Richard Doty means Richard the liar. Kind of thing, you know?
Nice.
Which is great because he's this CIA guy who will be put forward to meet conspiracy theorists or ufologists, and he's the kind of guy who goes up who will approach him and say, "Look, you're onto something here, right?
Yeah.
But you got to keep it on the down low, man, because if everyone finds out, we're fucked. Okay, so you can I'll give you even extra information, and I'll put all the cards on the table so you know, but you can't be telling anyone else, like, and everyone falls for it." Everyone falls for it, you know?
Yeah, Tom DeLonge has recently fallen for
but he's the biggest fucking shill on the planet, man.
I don't think he's shill. I think he's just oh my please, God. Don't. Yeah. But it's funny, like like when we were watching it, the first guy he kind of destroys, he found out or took pictures of some top, classified plane or something. He found something, but it wasn't UFO. And so this was kind of the cover up. Richard Doty was brought in, blah, blah. And kind of ruins his life, essentially. And Finesse, my wife, was just sitting there watching, going, how can he live with himself doing that? And I was going like, it's his job. He thinks he's been patriotic. He thinks he's probably good at, he is good at his job and all that. And she was just going, how can he live with himself? And it's probably like, I totally understand
Protestants,
that.
Protestants, Vanessa, they're born without any guilt. That's what it is,
But
no
it's like
Catholic shame.
This is probably the least worst thing the CIA has ever done. So,
Yeah. I mean, so the first guy's Paul Benowitz, who's this science guy, and he sees aircrafts and he starts filming them, and then he starts using his equipment to try and get radio signals and listen in. And they're like, shit, he's going to tell everyone about this F-16 that we're working on and no one knows about, whatever. And so like, whoa, okay, look, it's aliens, but like, don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
But then he goes even further with it, and he starts finding these landing strips on mountains that are hidden, and like one of the landing strips was on a Native American reserve that they didn't even know about.
Right.
And he's like, fucking walks into the national or to the reserve, and he's like, hey, do you know you have a landing strip here, and there's aliens landing on it? And the cop is like, what? And so they bring him up, and there it is. And he's like, and then he hatches this plan, this Benowitz fella, that he's going to kill all the aliens that come and land there because he's going to save the planet. And it's like, man, Richard, you've gone too far. Doty.
Yeah, you've gone too far.
What are you doing, like?
And even at that point, Doty's going like, "You need to drop this, man." I'm telling you, not as your CIA hand. I'm telling you, just as a person, stop this, stop it, please.
Oh God! And then like, there's a character in it who people should know, Linda Moulton Howe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's in loads of like Ancient Aliens and Discovery Channel alien stuff. She's
Coast to Coast. She has her own like. Well, she's always on Coast to Coast AM all the time.
Yeah, she's ancient now. She's like 80 years old or something. And
is she that old? Is she?
Yeah, 78. Wow. I looked her up there, and she kind of first became famous because of a HBO documentary about cattle mutilations. Yeah. And I think in that, I watched it years ago, I think she does end up blaming aliens for it.
Oh, does she in that? I thought it was kind of open-ended at that kind of...
Or maybe it's the other way. Maybe she ends up blaming the government. And like the government, according to Doty, are the ones behind it. They were doing it to distract people and say, oh yeah, God, look at what the aliens are doing to the cattle. Meanwhile, they're flying these F-19 or F-20 bombers that you know, because it was at the time that that airplane, the really fucking cool one that's radar doesn't detect.
Oh, the stealth, whatever it is.
Yeah. So they were working on shit like that. So,
well, it was the other thing as well that they were doing nuclear tests as well. So that they were saying that they were taking the cattle and specimens just to see, well, what would happen if we, you know, blew up a nuclear bomb in the middle of like people and there was loads there. What would happen? We'll try the cows first, Sergeant. Let's try it on the cows first. But it's like they're mutilated in very strange and odd ways. Like that's. Like, I mean, I don't know. That's very peculiar. That and some of the stuff.
Can you imagine having that as your job? Like, hey, I'm signed up new in the CIA today. Yeah, you have to go out and cut the tits off of cows.
Yeah. What? Well, yeah, and then after that, can you take all of the flesh around the eye? But I mean this. Do not touch the eye itself. It has to be completely intact. But like a square, just right round the eye. Yeah, and its tail, just for the crack. And one of its toes. But it's very strange. And like that stuff where there's no blood and all of the, you know, like it's very strange. That kind of ties in with the skinwalker stuff though, isn't it? You see that coming up with the mutilation stuff. Who was the guy then at the end in the Doty one or in Mirage Man who was he was at the conference, the UFO thing, and he was coming out and he got everyone just went boo!
Yeah, Bill Moore. And Bill Moore wrote the first book about Roswell.
Right, okay.
And so he was Doty targeted him because, okay, he's someone who has kind of prominence or standing in the UFO community. So I'm going to fucking turn him. And he didn't really turn him because he says that Bill figured out what was going on fairly quickly. So they're both kind of using each other. And then he goes to this MUFON conference and Bill just spills the beans on everyone and says, yeah, look, Doty's been doing this to me. He was doing it to Benowitz. I know what's going on. He knows what's going on. So it's all disinformation, and to be honest, no one has a fucking clue now what's going on. Might be aliens, might be the government, we don't know. Yeah, and
and your man, the organizer had to come up 4 times in the middle of a speech to give out to people. Stop it now, be quiet.
Yeah, did you like this one? I really liked it because it's journalistic.
Yeah, no, I liked it, you know? And because I liked it kind of. If you take Richard Doty as being legit, you know what I mean? Like it's like I'd like to go further into kind of a journalistic look at his life in the way, you know, like the Bob Lazar one where they completely tear his life apart, something like that. But I assume it must be fairly legit, or you know, something would have been raised around that kind of thing. Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was a good kind of look at how easily people are manipulated, how that it's, you know, sometimes the bizarre claim is the thing that's covering up the smaller, you know, mundane claim, or, you know, like it's aliens. No, it's really just, you know, a fast or airplane or whatever it is. Or
there's something great he says when he meets this Linda Howe. Yeah, like this years ago, like
she's a very formidable woman, isn't she? Like I wouldn't.
Especially she would have been then because it was 78. I think she made that mutilation documentary. She was gung ho, fucking. I'm a journalist. I'm gonna uncover all this stuff, you know. And he's given her this document to show her, and he says, like, you know, he says he directs her in it, and he's like, look, you can read this. You can't ask me. Or you can ask me questions, but you can't take any notes.
Yeah.
But and you have to move where you're sitting because you're being filmed, kind of thing. But he says then, he's like, yeah, a lot of the stuff that was in that is factually, or is true.
True, yeah.
Some of it wasn't, but a lot of it was. But I was just told to give it to her, and it's kind of like, obviously it was done to make her discreditable, because then she would come out with these outlandish statements which might be true or are true, or
that's the Majestic 12 stuff, isn't it?
Majestic 12, yeah. Well, no,
it became the
the Majestic 12. That's right, because the Majestic 12 stuff has been found to be false, but there's obviously still nuggets of truth in it.
Depends who you ask. Some people are true believers of the Majestic 12. She then subsequently fell for some disinformation that Dodie gave her and got caught in it.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of, I suppose, tamed her a wee bit. I think in recent years she also fell for some CGI alien ships as well, although I might be conflating her with some. Yeah, I'm nearly sure that there was some of these amazing, obviously, very obviously CGI alien ships, photos that were going around. I remember the two boys in Mysterious Universe talking about it. So it's a number of years ago since I've listened to that.
Yeah.
So
she's old,
I know, but she's done like number one, being a female in a predominantly male kind of industry that first journalism and then particularly UFOs, and being like, you see that the bit where she's even given out to the director of Mirage Magazine. I'm not interested if you what documentary are you making here? What are you doing? oh no, we're just trying to what? I'm not interested.
Fair play to her. She's right, no, I really like that one. Like it goes to show, and it's not a Men in Black thing. It's just how to how to spread propaganda or
it's an Edward Bernays thing. It's like Edward Bernays. His foot soldiers is Richard Doty. Like that. That's
Yeah, exactly. It's how to fucking discredit someone who might be onto something, and if they are onto something, well then we'll just pretend it's something else because it'll make them look ridiculous. Mad. Very, very well done. It's fucking smart by the CIA to take that kind of strategy, to hide what they're really up to.
Well, this is the whole thing. I mean, to go full conspiracy woo at the minute, that they would say that why, let's just allow this to exist for a minute without, it's like why that whole kind of 5G coronavirus connection was kind of raised as being, as ludicrous and shown as ludicrous. But why it was given a lot of press and all that was that now you can't look at 5G without being seen as a conspiracy theorist and, ludicrous. So people say, well, that was the real kind of undercover operation where it was trying to deflect any kind of criticism of 5G by connecting it to something that was obviously not connected to. And you can kind of go, well, I don't know if I believe that's true or whatever, but it certainly would fit with the type of Richard Doty stuff that they were doing, where there was bits of truth, bits of thing, exaggerating certain areas that to overall discredit people. But it's like, but that is not the whole point then of disinformation, is to leave people not knowing what they know is true or what isn't true, and just to leave the whole thing. People go, I've no fucking idea. Yeah, that's the
Well, sure,
which is where we are, I suppose. In the vast majority of things, I've no idea.
And even like at the end, Doty is like, no, well, this is true what I'm saying now. And it's like, but your whole career is lying to people. So how the fuck?
Yeah, and he had that other thing where is it the Serpo thing where he's going like, I didn't write that, and then the proof where you go, you definitely wrote this, and you definitely emailed this, and whatever. You go, no, I didn't. No.
Yeah, they get a couple of or an IT nerd to track his fucking IP address, and it's like, no, it's you.
It's definitely you. No, I didn't do that. Yeah. Why would I do that?
I think it's fierce interesting though. If there was more about him, I'd watch it because
he's in the Stephen Greer doc, is he? Or he was definitely in one other one that I watched where he's kind of older. Yeah,
maybe he was in Greer. Maybe he was in the Greer one, because the Greer one goes conspiracy a different way.
Yeah,
rather than like this is disinformation to cover up. His is that we're being prepared for America to try and take on the aliens in a war.
Yeah.
And they're trying to convince us through propaganda that the aliens are going to be bad, and he's like, no, the aliens are grand, man. They're sound.
Yeah. It's so going into the Greer one. The first one I liked in a kind of which is serious. This is his first kind of kickstarted. They're all kind of kickstarted documents, or
First one certainly was, anyway.
Yeah.
Serious, the first one, isn't it?
yeah. And so that's you know.
Did you like that?
Well, I liked it in the sense of, oh, this is interesting. Didn't believe it. Like, I mean, I was going, that's definitely not an alien baby. There's no chance that that's an alien baby. That's going to be proved that it's not an alien baby, and you're going to stop talking about it.
Nah.
No mention of alien babies in the new one at all. But I enjoyed it in a kind of, oh, this is high-ranking, well-known, articulate, intelligent Stephen Greer, character.
Yeah.
Well-made documentary about, so it's like going grand. This isn't kind of cheap ancient aliens thing. It's like, it's here we go.
Yeah, it was well made. But I was awful disappointed by it because for months I had been following it, and it was this. It's going to be groundbreaking disclosure. It's going to open the floodgates. And I watched and was like, I know all this stuff. There's absolutely zero new information in this. I
liked it more than I liked the unacknowledged, which I didn't like.
Unannounced was awful as well. Yeah.
And I kind of I think why I didn't really get into the Tom DeLonge stuff and his disclosure thing is I was going, this is just, it's another, it feels the same, it's like it's all.
Tom DeLonge's full of shit, man. Even I know that.
I know, but look at the people he's surrounded with. He's surrounded by Richard Doty's, isn't he? Really, but they're high-ranking people.
It's that dude, that dude, the big soldier dude who has the fucking fanny, the fanny on his chin. Like
the soul patch.
You can never ever trust a man who has a landing strip on his fucking chin. Like. You can't trust them. Science has proven many times. Never trust a man who has one of those fucking Brazilian
Jack L.
thing.
He had one there for a while.
But he had the thing as well, though.
He did the devil stuff.
Schmeg, I don't know what the fuck it's called.
When he was to Tom DeLonge, just brief tangent, Tom DeLonge on Joe Rogan, he just makes a bit of a tit of himself, to be quite honest. Like, I know loads of stuff, and Joe goes, well, tell us. I can't tell you. Get off.
Fuck off. Yeah. And I really wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, because I really liked Blink-182. I had their first album. It cost me a fucking fortune, so it did.
Right.
To get it imported and stuff. And it's there's only, I think there's 15 songs and only 2 are good. But it's their first album. It's like a garage band album kind of thing,
I got into them with Watch My Age Again, whatever.
Yeah.
That's about it. Or the big one, that's the one that everyone knows.
Yeah,
that's the same album, isn't it?
Yeah. But his starts off, Greer's starts off, what's it called?
It's Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind.
Yeah, it starts off, there's 3 acts in it. Really, isn't it? And the first is that, right, we're in a propaganda war. And you're like, oh, okay, this is interesting. You got me. You piqued my interest there. And first he explains the different types of encounters, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Going through the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
Yeah. So 1 is seeing crafts in the sky, or seeing lights in the sky. That's number 1. Number 2 then is seeing physical traces left by things. So it could be like crop circles, or like the ground is burned or whatever, dead, mutilated. No, that's not right. And then 3rd kind is like the film, so it's seeing the aliens. 4th kind is abduction or interaction, and then the 5th kind, and this is kind of his method, is proactive, initiated communication by humans to them. So you sit in your meditation circle and you say, "Hello, aliens, I'm over here. Do you want to come say hello?" And apparently they're meant to manifest, and you get to see crafts and sometimes beings as well. Yeah. So that's a good way to
badly drawn squiggly lines that are definitely not done in Photoshop. Definitely not done in Photoshop or on a phone. All the things I can say about this documentary, that photograph of the arrows on the chest was definitely not drawn on a phone.
Yeah, they're pretty bad, aren't they?
The arrows. That's the worst of it. I went, no, not doing that. Like, even the other photos of the healer dude and the wee sprite guy, I was going, yeah, that's interesting, that's cool, you can, yourself the pareidolia of making shapes, but they're you can go, oh, well, there's a head, there's a body, there's legs, that's pretty awesome. Yeah. And you can see who is he's interviewed by your man, that idiot on YouTube, and you could see he was just going, no, I can't take this seriously.
Blonde, what's his name, Paul Logan?
Whatever, his brother, there's 2 of them, isn't there?
There's 2 of them, is there?
Yeah, him and his brother.
One of them's a boxer. Well, not a boxer. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I wanted to like this, but there was a lot of problems in it. You know?
There's a few problems given that we know a history of transcendental meditation, and the problems we had with that is also in this.
Yeah.
So, but that he's coming from a
Steven
transcendental.
Tyler is in it as well.
You gotta watch it.
Steven Tyler, you gotta watch it. Telling Joe Rogan, you gotta watch something. Like Joe Rogan must have a very lackadaisical fucking attitude to people using his footage and just taking it off YouTube and putting it in their documentaries. I'd be like, whoa, what are you doing with this? What's going on here?
Yeah, I assume he just sees it as being good. You know, like it all comes back to Joe. But he does have his own, obviously, clips channel as well, so he knows that it's a financially viable thing to have. I suppose, Joe Rogan talks about Stephen Greer or whatever it is, just 12 minutes out of some other thing. But he must be, or are you allowed to use 25 seconds of anything? It's less than 1% of the entire thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
how it
maybe
works.
so. Still, though, I wouldn't have used Steven Tyler for anything.
I literally think the next thing Joe Rogan says something along the way is that he thinks Stephen Greer is an idiot or something. Like he disparages or says, I thought that documentary's crap. I don't think it's a good thing. Although I think Stephen Greer is on Joe Rogan, one of the early ones.
Really?
I think so. And again, I should research these things of notes the way you do, like a proper journalist.
I'd watch that because I like Greer. I mean, I've watched 3 of his documentaries and I didn't like 2 of them. And I like this one.
Yeah.
So obviously I do like him, and I think he's coming from a good place. He's wanting to get information that he believes is true out to people, and sure, that's only a good thing, There's a couple of things I picked up on it, kind of hermeticism beliefs. There's the whole like mentalism that the universe. There's a quote in it. I don't remember who says it. The universe looks less like a big machine than a big thought. Sure, that's mentalism. That's the first principle of hermeticism. And then there's a second one as well. That the aliens are higher states of being from places where they've attained that state. That's also one of the hermetic beliefs as well in that. So we're like kind of mid-level on consciousness, and we can interact or speak with people who are higher than us, and we interact with beings that are lower than us by giving into our base kind of urges. So like rage and anger and debauchery and whatever. So that's another kind of hermetic thing. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it's all very, very new age. Like it's all very love and light, and save us, angels from above, and and everything. Which is and I kind of was in the mood for something like that, rather than even in the one documentary where it's one people say, "Oh, there's a darkness coming," and you go, "Oh, don't do that," And it's like like there's always kind of this. Nastiness on the horizon or something or whatever, that it's just I find it a bit boring, I suppose. Whereas at least with the kind of, as much as it's airy fairy new agey love and light and a bit too much, at least it's he's kind of going, no, I think the future could be awesome, I think things could be great, rather than the insistence on but
as long as so like the way I would see it is that...
Not that I agree with him already, like in the sense of his approach to it. Like, don't be trying to contact aliens.
Do. I'm definitely going to try. Fuck yeah, man. I definitely want to talk to an alien. I think it'd be good crack. I think the way that I kind of looked at Juan's thing of the impending doom was that, no, he's been interpreting it wrong.
Right.
And that, by getting this insight and by becoming closer to his ancestral people, then he'll be able to reinterpret it as a bit better. And in that interview with that other podcast, the Fifth Dimension or sorry, I'm getting it wrong. I might have it open still, actually. I do. The Fifth Kind is the fucking podcast. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
So they have an interview with Juan up on their YouTube. He says that he's a bit more hopeful now that he's. No, sorry, I'm getting it wrong. I think he says that the next time he has the dream, he's going to try to stay in the dream longer and see if he can get a different interpretation out of it.
Oh, right, okay.
So that's good. That's hopeful. And as well, then with the Greer stuff, but the Greer stuff is kind of aimed at, look, the US is going to try and get us into a war with, aliens and they're going to dress it as national security, as they always do, is bullshit. And number one is they're not going to win. If we take on the aliens, there's only one winner there, baby. And like these are things that materialize out of the air. Like we have no fucking hope.
Yeah. Who can switch off your nuclear weapons at any second they want. Yeah, you don't have them anymore. All right, okay.
Oh, okay, shit. Oops. Egg on your face, Donald Trump. And so his thing is that his thing is that we can stop this impending coming intergalactic war by meditating and inviting the aliens to come down and meet us through. And even though it's never mentioned, there are clips in it where it's written transcendental meditation.
Yeah, and the whole studies that flick through that very legitimate looking study isn't that legitimate, and it is definitely, that's done by transcendental meditation. It is based on Maharishi and all those things. We talked about that before. David Wants to Fly, that documentary. There's probably something in it, but it's not as a big an effect as they're letting on.
It was exactly the same idea that the Maharishi had from taking money from Switzerland and from America, and like they were going to build this temple, which is going to have 222,000 people. They're all going to pray for world peace, and they're going to get it. And Greer comes to the exact same thing at the end. It's like we only need 1% of the population to all meditate on this and send out good vibes, and the aliens will be sound. Because he has this really lame argument that it's 1% can change everything, and
that's the transcendental. That's completely transcendental meditation teaching.
Yeah, but did you see what he used? He used this the helium as this thing that when helium is at its when there's no activity,
right,
and then you raise it up to 1% activity, all of the ions or atoms, they all line up, and there's this symmetry and geometricism and all this kind of stuff, and it's like, why didn't you use gold, or why helium?
Yeah,
what the fuck?
yeah.
Like, you're just cherry picking bullshit here to fit your argument, and it's just this transcendental meditation belief of, okay, if 1% can do all this thing and send out the happy vibes, this is going to happen. And it's, look, I mean,
but I suppose isn't it interesting though that when you think that the other kind of 1%, the notorious 1% who are in control of the world, like, I mean, there is, there, I suppose you kind of go, well, that's interesting that there is there's such power in a certain 1%. You go,
Okay. You okay. We'll call this a draw, Tommy. No, but I don't. I
loved the story about your man getting his hearing back. I thought that was brilliant. I love them type of things for this kind of instant where he's just, he's talking to this alien for 40 minutes. And just before you go, in a very Columbo-esque manner, could you do something about my hearing?
Yeah.
And in full recovery from his hearing.
Well,
that's interesting.
If I met an alien, that's what I'd ask for. I wouldn't want riches or gold or anything. I'd be just like, look, can you give me the power to heal cancer and stuff? Because that would be helpful, and then people could come to me and I'd just put my hands on their head and then they'd be fine, and I don't want money for it around. It's just, can you do that? And the alien would say, you're an idiot, here's $1 million. Hey!
Here's better hearing. But what I wanted to see after that was a doc going straight to his doctor and going, yes, well, we did tests before and after, and I'm the guy who's put in his hearing aids and he now has full hearing. But they don't, just kind of go, yeah, I have full hearing. Right, okay.
Okay, cool. And you were definitely deaf before. What? Oh, yeah. What? It's good, but it could have been a little bit better. And it's just the ending left me a bit like, because they need 1% of the total population of the planet, 75 million people. That's a fucking lot of people. To do this meditation, to tell the aliens, no, man, we're cool. We want to be friends.
But I assume the aliens know. If they're fifth dimensional beings or whatever they are, why did it is it that they need? It's like a vote we need 40% of the population to get us into government. So we need 1% of yous to allow us. Maybe it's something. Maybe they're very democratic in a very low ball. 1%'s enough. Just 1%. We can do anything.
Who's your man with the theory about the evolution or the evolutions of societies, and that we're at the base level because we're still raping and pillaging the planet, and then you move on to the next level when you're just using renewable energies and stuff.
I know, yeah.
The Star Trek is based on this.
Yes,
comes from this idea, and wouldn't it be weird to live in a time when Earth is brought up to the next level. And you're like, oh, what? Wait now. So this is like the UN. No. It's different than the UN. Okay. Can we? So wait now. So we're all like one human race now. Well, you always were. Yeah, but even Chinese people. Well, of course, it's all one race. I'm taking the piss now.
Yeah, obviously.
And you're like, yeah, but okay, and like okay. So who do we hate now?
Yeah, but that's it, isn't it? That's it. Like, who is our enemy? Like,
yeah. There is no enemy. We're all one. Yeah. It's like, and then Trump. I don't know. I mean, I like the way that the documentary's framed is that, you know, there's this kind of disinformation and bad stuff going on with the aliens, and this is leading us to here, but we can stop it. I said, okay, it's a nice idea, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if there is the conspiracy, of course, that this lockdown is alien-related rather than pandemic-related, and maybe this is our introduction or our initiation into the Galactic Federation, and we have to. I don't know.
So you're saying that Stephen Greer started this lockdown?
No, man.
To get his filling out.
The aliens.
Okay, and there's stuff that comes up that he lets slip. It's not really edited very well to get nerdy on it. He lets slip some. He's doing these lectures, and he lets slip that like the aliens or the beings in the photographs or the shapes in the photographs have names. I was like,
yeah.
Hold on now.
Yeah.
Rewind there, please. Who gave them names? Did they give them? Did they tell you the names, or did you just make up names? Or what the hell's going on here? And they're like, oh yeah, sure, that's Jimmy. He's from Planet Blah, and he does Blah, and name that. So, whoa! None of that's covered at all. You just glance over that.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's in the books, though. I think like the very much. I don't know if it's just him, but you know, they have like all the different races and all the different kind of give the Nords, the blondes, you know, all that kind of stuff. I think.
That came up in the Mirage Men. Yeah. Remember the stuff I was telling you about Sirius? That's what Yeah, one of the FBI guys says that, or CIA guys. Yeah. So I was right.
And the thing, what I liked in Greer one, where he talks about the, you know your man, that Japanese guy who does the water intention experiments.
Oh yeah.
That's interesting, but it's also like, I mean, you go on to Google and put that in, and then put in the same thing and put debunked after it, and you have like very convincing kind of things on both sides or whatever. No one seems to be able to replicate it quite the way he has been able to do it.
Okay.
But there does seem to be an effect that, particularly, like even Mythbusters did it, where, you know, they played classical music and metal to plants, and plants definitely prefer the metal music. And they like just went in and said, "Oh, you're a lovely plant," every day, and then another plant went in and went, "You're a fucking terrible plant. I hate you." And the plant that got screamed at was way more resilient and better. So there seems to be some sort of,
it's resilient. So it's not love. It's anger.
It seems to be, yeah. In that one very possibly unscientific Mythbusters episode.
That's weird.
But other people have done it and have had the complete opposite kind of
I'd say it's
thing.
opposite.
Yeah, it's. I mean, that could strictly be put down to environmental factors. Like, because if one person's going to go, "Oh, I love you," and they've, gum disease and killing the plant, and the other person comes in and really great dental hygiene, like, and it's hard to know.
Or maybe like they have this like really fucked up form of third stage cancer that they don't know about, and the plant is like,
oh, Jesus Christ, out of here!
Shit's contagious.
But the other experiments were interesting. The one about the random number generator is always very interesting. That's a very interesting phenomenon, and that's seen all over the place. Like, it's not just one person with a random number generator going, "Yeah, well, look at 911 or 911," but there seems to be some sort of response. And the one you really liked about the plants. That's a good one.
Blew my mind, man. Because you know me, I love my flowers, like, and plants.
Yeah.
Fucking garden is full of stuff. And so you have a dark room, and you have a light suspended from the ceiling, and you give it 4 corners that it can swing around to, and you hook it up to a random number generator, and then it just randomly shines light in that corner, completely random. And then you put a houseplant in one of the corners, so you think, okay, so like by maths, it has a 25% chance, or it will pick up 25% of the light. But no, actually it picks up like much more.
Yeah.
Because there seems to be some link between the fucking plant telling the light that it wants light, or else the light telling the plant that it wants to shine on it, or else it's kind of both. You know?
Yeah. But we
Which is
have to
fucking awesome, you know?
put the caveat in. It goes, this is an unpublished experiment. That's to mention. As yet, well, yeah. But it's an interesting one. And their type of stuff, I suppose, you can do yourself.
This is like your man who is mentioned in reality transurfing. I always forget his name, and it comes up every fucking podcast. This membrane of quantum, that everything is linked.
The Rupert Sheldrake guy, the morphogenic stuff. Yeah.
So, like, I mean, the more and more I hear about this kind of paranormally stuff that's connected with maybe kind of quantum-y stuff, the more it kind of makes a lot of sense that, okay, everything is far more connected than we even think it is.
Yeah.
Like it's really it's almost tangible, or should be. Just every single thing that interacts with anything else is connected, and I think it's a way of thinking that we should get to, because then it'll open up. It's one of those things where, like, I reckon in like 100 years' time, people are going to be like, that was the answer. That was it. Like,
yeah. Well, it's hard to know, because I mean, the quantum stuff is like so entangled in New Age thought, but it's like it often leads to bullshit, like and terribleness.
There's a really good TED talk by a woman who the idea of the TED talk is to how to use quantum theory to become more creative. You know,
right?
And like the it's a good talk. But she's wrong. Her understanding of quantum theory is complete nonsense. She's not quantum theory. She has quantum mechanics mixed up with quantum psychosis or something. I don't remember. Right. It's in the comments, and explains really well why she has it arseways, you know. And I think it's just like me. Like, there's no point in me trying to explain quantum theory to someone, because I don't understand it.
Yeah.
You know, who the fuck does? But yeah,
well,
but then there's quotes in the film from like Schrodinger and stuff, and he's saying, yeah, look, everything is everything else connected to each other and reacting to each other, and like, yeah, it's just a cool way of thinking about it, you know.
Yeah, there's a Brian, what's that English dude that why can't I think of his second name? Very famous public media scientist dude, Brian
Cox.
Brian Cox,
Smiley guy.
Yeah. Things can only get better. But he does one, A Night with the Stars, it's called. It's on YouTube somewhere, whatever. It's like basically him doing a scientific thing with, you know, like Jonathan Ross in the audience and a number of things. But he talks about the entanglement thing, and he talks it in an extremely woo way there you go, in a woo type sense of that, you know, if you do something here, everything else in the entire universe has to change because of this one change, because you can't, whatever's the molecule or whatever, you can't have the molecule in this particular order. It can only exist once in the world, that because nature. And so if you change this one, then the entire universe has to change. And I'm going, wow, that's amazing that he's saying that, and that's just blowing my mind, you know, from a scientific point of view, that they're saying stuff like that. Then you go into the comments and everyone's like, oh yeah, Brian Cox, it's full of shit. That's not how it works at all. And then you go to like the other sides to go, well, he's kind of right, but it's like it's not. But it's odd for him to be that kind of woo. Like, he's usually like quite he's not fully dismissive in that he will go and, you know, to these cultures that, you know, there's one where they dig up the dead every year. And, you know, he doesn't lambast them, right? Because he goes, I understand why they're coming from and all that, but, you know, I don't believe any of this kind of stuff. But it's interesting to see him going so full woo. I'll see if I can dig it out for you. It's an interesting, even apart from that section, it's a good talk anyway.
Yeah.
Like on the
digging up the dead. Is it Indonesia or somewhere like that? I think
so.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's fucking mental.
Yeah.
Pretty cool though.
Yeah.
You know, because you get to see Grandad 15 years later with the fucking coolest shades. Did you see that one? He put shades on him to cover his empty eye sockets. It's like, cool motherfucker.
Yeah. Right. Don't let the kids out until the shades are on. No, I see Grandad without the shades.
Oh, it's so weird, but like, yeah, it's got to be full of tourists now as well. You know, fucking the white man ruins everything.
Did you watch any other ones? Or was
that's all the time. No, I did. No, but the Bob Lazar one, I'd seen that.
Yeah, I rewatched Bob. That's a good documentary.
I like Bob. I think Bob is probably the most trustworthy of all these people.
Yeah, you know? But it's hard to know.
Except for the hookers.
Yeah, that's an odd kind of situation. And excuse me, the education thing that everyone's, you know, really kind of digs in that, there's no record of his education, but yet he's in the phone book and there's a photo of him at the college and all that kind of stuff. The guy did that documentary. He did a couple of other ones. He did the Skinwalker one that is Robbie Williams at the end of it, that one that we've talked about. He did this other one, Patient 17, which I watched last night, which is about implants in people and then, taking them out and having a look and see what's in them. And this one, it's okay documentary. It's one of those where this is really interesting when you're watching it, and then you spend 2 minutes on Google and go, oh, that's not interesting at all. It's like
this is the implant thing.
Yeah. So like that.
Yeah. But I thought like we'd kind of live long enough to get implants where like you just kind of you have a chip in the back of your neck or something, and you're like, shit. I need to learn Polish, and they're just like, okay, hold on, then plug this in.
The Matrix. Yeah.
Suddenly,
although we do have certain things that like we can administer medicine in those type of ways. Like, I mean, you have implants of like the pill, obviously, and then there's like kind of certain diabetic stuff as well. Yeah.
Strange.
But you see, people won't. Like, I mean, would you? See,
if it helped me learn Polish, man, I'd do fucking anything at this stage.
No, but it doesn't. Like, but here's the thing about the implant or whatever, and it's because we're so suspicious of the government and all of the, and as well we should be, because they've lied about many things and medical things. Like even looking at something like thalidomide, which was a terrible nightmare, or all of this thing. So we should be skeptical about all these things. But like, if everyone had an implant, it would make so many things so much easier. Like, I mean, no more missing kids, no more missing people. That entire thing goes away. There's like a whole kind of murders end immediately, because where were you at 4:11? As the man was being stabbed. Oh look, you were right beside him. You did it. But like, of course, then there's the idea that they can send some sort of signal through that gives you a heart attack, or they can, all of these, it's a control. Yeah. If we had nicer reptilian overlords, some of these ideas are actually really good, but it's because of the reptilian overlords and their adrenochrome needs that I'm not sure I'd want an implant that would allow me to learn Polish immediately. I don't know, isn't it?
Yeah. We were saying this the other day, and it's like we'd be the type of hippies like, no man, I want to learn it, I want to read the book, I want to feel the book, I don't want to just know it straight away. It'll
be better for me in the long run.
Yeah. Nonsense, isn't it? So that's your ego fucking with you. I don't know, I mean, I don't know if I was given the chance of an implant that, yeah, but I'd just be after knowledge, you know what I mean? I just want to know stuff. If it helped me learn more and more, like if I had fucking Wikipedia in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'd take that implant.
Can I switch it off though? Because sometimes
you don't know. Of course. But it's just that if you wanted to access.
Yeah. But I suppose we kind of have that though. We have a thing in our hand that can do that.
It's on my hand. I left it upstairs. Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's tracking me. But I suppose it'll be similar, any of this kind of stuff, if it happens, if the Elon Musk dream, this transhumanism dream. It is transhumanism, isn't it? The way you get the
bionic people.
All of these kind of names all blend into one. But if that happens, it'll be the equivalent, I suppose, of like in 100 years when people first got glasses or hearing aids, or like all of these, because like hearing aids now, I suppose. They're probably really good tech, whatever, but they seem quite primitive compared to your phone. They're probably not. I don't know, the ins and outs of hearing aids, but it seems like an old tech in that it seems harmless. That no one's putting in a hearing aid going, the government are tracking me. What's going on here? Which is probably, and then you would take like literally you're putting in like a hearing aid into your ear, but you worry about Alexa, and you go, no, well, you have one in your ear, but we don't worry about the hearing aids. What I'm really saying is that the deaf people are not to be trusted, or some sort of government agents. Is that where I'm going with
this? Old deaf men. They're the shadowy elite.
Yeah.
Come here, to bring it back to aliens. Then, like, what would your like? Do you think there is going to be disclosure? Have we already had a disclosure that has been leaked and trickled kind of out? Like stuff like Ancient Aliens. Is this part of the problem or part of the solution kind of thing,
Well, Stephen Greer would say it's definitely part of the problem, isn't it? That we've been kind of engineered to believe that an alien contact will be devastating and, the end of the world. And
Ancient Aliens doesn't really do that, though.
No, it doesn't. It does a lot of things.
It does, but I find it more positive. I don't watch it as much nearly anymore, but like I think it's mostly positive.
Yeah. I don't know what I don't know. Like, I mean, I was saying earlier on that don't try to contact aliens, but I mean, literally after watching Stephen Greer's thing, I tried to contact aliens. Like, of course. So, I mean, there's one. My most interesting, I suppose, UFO. Well, I've two. Is that seeing that triangle, but it's not that interesting. Like, what that didn't do anything. It could have been something else, but it definitely follows the triangle with the three dots thing pattern. But then years ago, I was watching. In the house here, so probably not that long ago, 5 years ago, I was watching a Dan Aykroyd UFO documentary. That's because he's mad into it, whatever. And above the telly, there was my computer did something really weird there when I mentioned that. Oh, they're on to me. I must take my hearing aid out. But it was, like the Predator red dot, the three dots.
Right, yeah.
So that appeared just above my TV. Or on the wall beside the TV, where the TV is now, but the TV wasn't there at the time. And I was immediately looking around because I thought it was like someone in the garden shining a light in. So I was going, oh, someone's trying to prank me here or whatever. Couldn't find anything where it was coming from. And I couldn't
Just a cow with a big smile.
But I couldn't find, what angle it would have to be, anything. And it was definitely, there was no net in the garden. You would see it coming, you'd see some reflection on the glass if it was, all of these things, whatever. And I just it was like, I don't know which documentary we're talking about, but they're saying that the feel of these things can be slightly different. Now, you always say that about magic. How do you know when a synchronicity is more than a coincidence? There's a feel. There's something. There was a feel of being watched, that sense of being stared at. With that, after I got over the thing of, I'm not being tricked here, and I went, oh no, I don't like this. And then as soon as that, then bang, went.
Gone.
And I went, it was like, so after the Stephen Greer documentary, go, right, come on, three dots now. I'm well up for it now. I'll be interested. Come on. Nothing. But I did that. It was funny though. There is an interesting sync from that because I was going, the whole kind of healing thing that's involved in the Stephen Greer stuff. And I've been doing a bit of, don't know if you've seen the videos with that thing, MAP, which is this very woo idea. Yeah. So it's which I think is a similar type of idea of what Greer's on about.
Like where you're talking about you're going to do it.
Yeah, well, like that. I see, I've stuff recorded, so I don't know what's up on it.
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
So it's a similar idea to the Greer thing of, you're aligning yourself to aliens, or only in this book, you're aligning yourself to, the White Brotherhood, which is a terribly unfortunate name, but it's like aligning yourself with the good guys of the universe, rather than, the 12 men who secretly run the world. So I was kind of going, right, well, if I'm not getting to treat things, I'll, let's do something about a healing thing or whatever. And I immediately got an email about someone and with a whole list of things of why my approach to what's going on with my eyes isn't a good approach from a kind of a healing. And I went, wow, that's very interesting.
Oh,
like kind of very quick. Yeah. And it was bits in it where I was going, and then, when I thought about it, rather than having a reaction, oh no, that actually makes a lot of sense. So that was interesting. But it's all of these things that are very interesting like that are stuff that's not going to convince you of anything or anyone else, but it's a very personal where I go, it's that, well, the whole thing of synchronicity, it's a personally meaningful coincidence. And that's exactly what that was. When you ask for advice on some sort of healing thing and immediately get an email from someone giving you advice on the thing. Didn't get my three dots though. That was creepy though. I think it was creepy more because I thought, I'm someone's trying to make fun of me, so I'm on guard, and but then kind of realization that, oh no, it's not a person. Where's that three lights? And I've never seen anything like, because you go, oh, it's probably a car. There's no car, and you know your own house, and you get used to the different lights and stuff.
Strange.
I don't know. Or it was a predator. Like from Missing 411. Was that dude?
You're one ugly motherfucker, yeah.
Get to the chopper!
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would like to see something, but what I kind of find the hardest about aliens to go with is that, like, Jesus Christ, like, it's okay. So this phenomenon is supposed to have started like Roswell in the 40s and whatever, but like and there's been hundreds of thousands of videos of stuff in the sky. Why has there been no video of someone just as they're getting on the ship, just get out the phone and just fucking turn on the camera and have it recording while they're being probed?
Well, that's the thing though, is it? Because they're saying it's not necessarily nuts and bolts, and like the actual UFO may be the entity rather than people driving this entity. I know Bob Lazar says that it's a physical thing and he's seen physical stuff, and the seats are quite small, which means that the aliens that are driving it are quite small, and
or else they stand up. on them. And they're just, they're foot holders and they're really big. Doom, gloom.
End of the world.
You know what's coming. Bye-bye.